The village of Edo slept under the serene gaze of the moonlit sky, its inhabitants nestled in the comforting embrace of their homes. Lanterns flickered softly, casting gentle shadows on the wooden walls and stone pathways. Takeshi, the samurai revered for his loyalty and skill, returned from a mission for his lord, his heart light with anticipation of reuniting with his beloved wife Aiko and their young son Hiroshi. As he approached his home, Takeshi sensed a subtle shift in the air, a tension that prickled at his senses. The familiar warmth of his hearth was replaced by an eerie silence that sent a shiver down his spine. With growing unease, he quickened his pace, striding through the familiar streets now cloaked in darkness. Then he saw it, the flickering glow of flames dancing against the night sky. Dread gripped Takeshi's heart as he rounded the final corner and beheld the horror that awaited him. His village, once a haven of tranquility, lay engulfed in fire and chaos. Houses were reduced to smoldering ruins, and the air was thick with smoke that stung his eyes and choked his lungs. Without hesitation, Takeshi sprinted towards his home, his footsteps echoing in the deserted streets. The scene that greeted him shattered his world. The charred remains of his once happy home. The roof collapsed and walls blackened. Amidst the devastation lay the lifeless bodies of his wife and son, their faces peaceful in death but marred by the brutality of their end. Takeshi fell to his knees beside them, his heart breaking with a grief so profound it threatened to consume him. Aiko, whose laughter had once filled their home with joy, now lay cold and still. Hiroshi, whose innocent curiosity had brought light to Takeshi's life, now lay silent and unmoving. Rage surged through Takeshi's veins as he surveyed the carnage. He knew in his heart who was responsible: Ryuji, a rival samurai consumed by jealousy and ambition. Ryuji had coveted Takeshi's position and status, seeing him as an obstacle to his own rise to power. In a calculated act of treachery, Ryuji had orchestrated the attack, believing it would eliminate his rival and leave him unchallenged. In that moment of raw anguish, Takeshi made a vow, an oath to avenge his family's senseless deaths. Clutching his katana, his hands trembling with grief and fury, Takeshi swore to hunt down Ryuji and all who had aided him in this heinous act. The Bushido code, which had guided his every action until now, burned within him with a newfound intensity. With the village still engulfed in flames behind him, Takeshi rose to his feet. His eyes blazed with determination as he looked towards the distant mountains where Ryuji's stronghold lay. The path ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but Takeshi knew that he could not rest until justice was served and his family's honor was restored. And so began Takeshi's journey of vengeance, a journey that would test his resolve, his skill as a warrior, and the very essence of his being. The samurai, once revered for his loyalty and compassion, now embarked on a path of darkness and retribution, driven by the burning desire to confront his enemy and to make him pay dearly for the lives he had taken. With the resolve of steel, Takeshi set forth on his journey towards Ryuji's stronghold. The path ahead was not merely physical, but also a test of Takeshi's inner strength and commitment to his oath. The landscape transitioned from the familiar comforts of Edo's cherry-blossom-lined streets to rugged terrain dotted with ancient forests and mist-shrouded mountains. Accompanied by a few loyal allies who had pledged their swords to his cause, Takeshi ventured into the wilderness. Among them was Kaito, a seasoned warrior whose loyalty to Takeshi stemmed from years of shared battles and unspoken bonds of brotherhood. Together, they navigated the treacherous trails and narrow passes, their senses sharp and their determination unwavering. As they traveled deeper into the heart of the mountains, they encountered challenges that tested their skills as samurai. Bandits lurked in the shadows, seeking to prey upon travelers bold enough to traverse their territory. Takeshi and his companions dispatched them swiftly, their swords flashing in the moonlight as they defended themselves against ambushes. The journey was not without its moments of introspection. Takeshi, haunted by memories of his family and fueled by thoughts of vengeance, grappled with the teachings of Bushido. He pondered the balance between justice and revenge, knowing that his quest had brought him perilously close to forsaking the virtues he had sworn to uphold. Amidst the hardships of the road, Takeshi found solace in the teachings of his mentor, Sensei Hideo. The elderly sage had imparted wisdom that now resonated deeply within Takeshi's troubled heart. Sensei Hideo had taught him that true strength lay not only in the mastery of the sword, but also in the mastery of oneself, in the ability to wield power with honor and humility. Each night, as they made camp beneath the starlit sky, Takeshi shared tales of his family with his companions. He spoke of Aiko's kindness and grace, of Hiroshi's laughter and boundless curiosity. Through these stories, Takeshi sought to keep their memory alive, knowing that their spirits would guide him through the darkness that lay ahead. As they drew closer to Ryuji's stronghold, Takeshi's determination grew fiercer. He knew that the final confrontation would test him in ways he had never imagined. Yet, with each step forward, Takeshi steeled himself for the inevitable reckoning. A reckoning that would determine not only his own fate, but also the fate of those who had stood by him in his darkest hour. After weeks of arduous travel through rugged terrain and perilous encounters, Takeshi and his band of loyal allies finally reached the outskirts of Ryuji's formidable stronghold. The fortress stood like a silent sentinel against the backdrop of the mountains, its stone walls weathered by centuries and its defenses formidable. The air crackled with tension as Takeshi surveyed the fortress from a hidden vantage point. Torches flickered along the walls, casting long shadows that danced in the night. Takeshi knew that Ryuji, the man responsible for the massacre of his family, lurked within those walls, surrounded by loyalists and mercenaries who would defend him to the death. With a silent gesture, Takeshi signaled for his companions to prepare for the assault. They had planned meticulously, studying the fortress's layout and identifying its vulnerabilities. Their strategy was not merely to breach the walls, but to strike swiftly and decisively, isolating Ryuji and neutralizing his defenses. Under cover of darkness, Takeshi and his allies moved like shadows, slipping past the outer sentries and scaling the walls with practiced skill. The sound of their footsteps was masked by the rustling of leaves and the distant cries of night birds. They moved with the precision of a well-oiled machine, each member knowing their role in the unfolding drama. As they penetrated deeper into the heart of the stronghold, they encountered resistance, Ryuji's loyalists, armed to the teeth and prepared to defend their master at all costs. Swords clashed, arrows whistled through the air, and shouts echoed off the stone walls as the battle raged in earnest. Takeshi fought with the ferocity born of grief and the righteousness of his cause. His katana became an extension of his will, slicing through the air with deadly precision. He moved with fluid grace, his movements a testament to years of rigorous training and unwavering determination. Amidst the chaos of battle, Takeshi sought out Ryuji with single-minded purpose. He knew that their duel would be the culmination of his quest for vengeance, a test of skill, resolve, and the very essence of their samurai spirit. Through the corridors of the fortress, Takeshi pressed forward, his heart pounding with anticipation and a steely resolve. Finally, in the heart of Ryuji's stronghold, Takeshi confronted his nemesis. The two warriors faced each other across a courtyard bathed in moonlight, the clash of steel ringing in the air. Ryuji, driven by fear and desperation, met Takeshi blow for blow, his movements fueled by a savagery born of guilt and remorse. Their duel was a dance of death, each strike a testament to years of rivalry and unfinished business. Takeshi's grief fueled his strength, while Ryuji's desperation lent him a savage ferocity. The courtyard became a crucible of emotions, anger, sorrow, and the unyielding pursuit of justice. With a final decisive strike, Takeshi disarmed Ryuji and brought him to his knees. The fortress fell silent as Takeshi stood over his fallen enemy, katana poised to deliver the final blow. His heart pounded in his chest, the weight of his family's memory heavy upon him. But as Takeshi looked into Ryuji's eyes, eyes that mirrored his own pain and loss, he hesitated. He saw not just a bitter rival, but a man consumed by his own demons, a man whose thirst for power had blinded him to the consequences of his actions. In that moment of clarity, Takeshi realized that vengeance alone would not heal the wounds that Ryuji had inflicted upon him and his family. The teachings of Bushido echoed in his mind, reminding him of the importance of honor, compassion, and mercy. Lowering his katana, Takeshi turned away from Ryuji. He ordered his companions to tend to the wounded and to ensure that those who had followed Ryuji out of fear or greed were treated with fairness and respect. The battle had been won, but Takeshi knew that his journey was far from over. The scars of loss would always remain, but in sparing Ryuji's life, Takeshi found a measure of peace, a realization that true strength lay not in vengeance, but in the ability to forgive and to find redemption. As dawn broke over the fortress, Takeshi stood before his companions. His heart was heavy with the weight of their shared history, but also lightened by a newfound sense of purpose. The journey had been long and arduous, marked by grief, anger, and ultimately redemption. And so Takeshi's story became a legend, a tale of grief and vengeance, of honor and redemption. His journey had been a testament to the strength of the samurai spirit, and a reminder of the enduring power of love and loyalty. After the climactic confrontation with Ryuji and the intense battle that ensued, Takeshi and his companions remained within Ryuji's fortress, tending to the wounded and ensuring that order was restored. The aftermath of the conflict brought a mixture of relief and solemn reflection among Takeshi's band of loyal samurai. As the sun rose over the mountains, casting its golden light upon the once turbulent battlefield, Takeshi found a moment of solitude amidst the lingering echoes of combat. He stood at the edge of a cliff overlooking the tranquil valley below, cherry blossoms gently swaying in the morning breeze. The serenity of the natural world stood in stark contrast to the violence that had consumed his life in recent months. In the quiet moments that followed, Takeshi contemplated the journey that had led him to this precipice. His quest for vengeance had been consuming, driving him forward with unwavering determination. Yet now, with Ryuji defeated and mercy shown, Takeshi grappled with the emptiness that lingered within him. The wounds of loss were still raw, but the fire of vengeance had dimmed, replaced by a yearning for peace. Sensei Hideo's teachings echoed in Takeshi's mind, reminders of the virtues of Bushido that had guided him throughout his life. Honor, courage, compassion. These were not just words, but principles to live by, even in the face of unspeakable loss. Takeshi knew that true strength lay not in the sword alone, but in the wisdom to wield it with justice and restraint. As Takeshi rejoined his companions, he found solace in their shared camaraderie and mutual respect. Each samurai had faced their own trials and tribulations, united by a common purpose and a bond forged in the crucible of conflict. Together, they had weathered the storm, emerging stronger and more resilient than before. In the days that followed, Takeshi and his band of samurai departed from Ryuji's fortress, their footsteps marking the path back to Edo. Along the way, they encountered villagers whose lives had been touched by the turmoil of Ryuji's reign. Takeshi offered words of reassurance and comfort, vowing to rebuild what had been lost and to honor the memory of those who had fallen. Back in Edo, Takeshi visited the graves of his beloved wife Aiko and his son Hiroshi. Cherry blossoms cascaded down around him, a poignant reminder of their enduring love and the fleeting beauty of life. Takeshi offered prayers for their souls, finding solace in the knowledge that their spirits would forever live on in his heart. As the seasons turned and life in Edo returned to its tranquil rhythm, Takeshi took on a new role within the community. He became a mentor to young samurai, imparting his wisdom and experience to the next generation. Through his teachings, Takeshi sought to uphold the values of Bushido and to ensure that the lessons learned from his journey were not forgotten. Though the scars of loss remained etched upon his soul, Takeshi found a measure of peace in the knowledge that justice had been served and that his family's honor had been restored. The journey had been long and arduous, marked by grief, anger, and ultimately, redemption. But in the end, Takeshi emerged stronger and more resilient, a testament to the enduring power of love, loyalty, and the unwavering spirit of the samurai. With each passing day, Takeshi found himself immersed in the rhythms of life in Edo once more. The village, once scarred by tragedy and turmoil, now embraced a renewed sense of peace and harmony. Cherry blossoms bloomed in abundance, their delicate petals whispering secrets of renewal and hope. Takeshi continued his role as a mentor and guardian of Bushido principles, guiding the next generation of samurai with wisdom tempered by experience. He instilled in them not only the art of swordsmanship, but also the importance of compassion, honor, and respect for life. The memory of his family remained a steadfast presence in Takeshi's heart. He visited their graves often, offering prayers and finding solace in the quiet beauty of the cherry blossom grove. Aiko's gentle smile and Hiroshi's laughter echoed in his mind, reminding him of the love that had sustained him through his darkest days. As time passed, Takeshi found moments of joy amidst the solemnity of his duties. He forged new bonds with the villagers, who had witnessed his journey and admired his resilience. They looked to Takeshi not only as a skilled warrior, but also as a symbol of strength and compassion. Sensei Hideo, the venerable sage who had guided Takeshi through his trials, continued to impart wisdom and perspective. Together, they reflected on the cyclical nature of life, the seasons of growth, loss, and renewal that shaped the human experience. Through their conversations, Takeshi found a deeper understanding of his own journey and the lessons it had taught him. One evening, as Takeshi stood beneath the blossoming cherry trees, he felt a sense of peace wash over him. The wounds of loss had not vanished, but they had become bearable, softened by the passage of time and the bonds of community. Takeshi knew that his family's legacy would endure, not just in memory, but in the values he upheld and the lives he touched. Looking out over the village of Edo, Takeshi saw the faces of those he had sworn to protect. They were a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the capacity for healing and renewal even in the wake of tragedy. Takeshi's journey had been a testament to the strength of the samurai code, but it had also been a journey of personal growth and redemption. As the sun set on another day in Edo, Takeshi bowed his head in silent gratitude. He knew that the road ahead would bring new challenges and trials, but he faced them with a heart fortified by love, honor, and the enduring legacy of his family's sacrifice. And so Takeshi's story continued, a tale of grief and vengeance, of honor and redemption. His journey had been a testament to the strength of the human spirit and a reminder of the power of forgiveness and renewal. In the heart of Edo, amidst the blossoming cherry trees, Takeshi found peace, a peace that transcended loss and embraced the promise of tomorrow.